I'm hot in my place, actually. I've got the fan on. How much? How high? 20? For me, it's 13? Oh wait, it's 20. Holy shit, 13. What the hell was that? Fuck. uh oh wait a second. Piss time. CompTIA Security Plus. Nice. Got a coffee. Oh, let's see. What am I on here? All right, I'll talk to you later. I'm gonna study. All right, see ya. Let's do this.
Easy way to get your data into the hands.
All right, so we're gonna finish off today the 2.3 section here. We've got three videos left, and then we're gonna do some Anki deck stuff, and we'll go into we're gonna try and finish Anki deck security 1, or section 1 here, 1.0 general, and then we'll go into 2.0 as well, because we can probably start off with 2.0 at least, and then we do have to finish up to what? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wait. What? There's 2.5 as well? 16, 17, 18. 18. There's 18 videos left of uh part 2. So we'll start it and see how we go. I could even start all the sections, honestly, just to see if I know or get used to what might be the right answers for things here. So let's continue watching here.
Of the attacker is to simply leave all of the information sitting in an open area of the internet. Surprisingly, this happens very often on the internet. So much.
Let me just turn down the brightness on my camera here. It's a bit bright in here. There we go. Normal amount.
Much that the attackers will use this as a method of reconnaissance to see if someone may have put some data on a cloud service and simply forgotten to secure it. They know that eventually they're going to run across some data that someone forgot to secure, and from there they can easily download it and disseminate it to others on the internet. A popular example of this occurred in June of 2017 when 14 million Verizon records were found.
Sorry, I just had to check something with LinkedIn here. Who is this guy? Okay, let's go.
Found on the internet, open and available to be downloaded. A third party had left an Amazon S3 data repository open without any type of passwords or security. Fortunately, this information was found by a researcher and not an attacker. So they were able to close this particular security loophole and confirm that no one else had downloaded any of this information. Although this story turned out to be rather insignificant for the 14 million records that were exposed, there are many other examples of information being made public on the internet without the intention of the data owner. Another security challenge is with unsecured admin accounts. This in the Linux world is the root account. In Windows, this is the administrator account, and sometimes we refer to both of these as the super user account. Usually there are methods built into the operating system that would prevent you from creating a root or administrator account with no password on it at all. But unfortunately, administrators will often assign a very easy to guess password to the root account, a password like 123456 or ninja or football, which makes it very easy for an attacker to brute force a password on this root account. A good best practice is to completely disable the ability to log in with the administrator account. This means you would first have to log in with your normal user account and then use an elevated access by using the su or sudo option to
How's my audio, by the way? Hopefully it's loud enough.
be able to get a root account access. This is very similar in Windows, where you would log in with your user account, but if you needed to run something with elevated access, you would use the Windows feature to run as administrator. Ideally, you should have very few accounts that have root or administrator access. This would certainly limit the scope of an attack and make it much harder for an attacker to even find an administrator account that they could then compromise. So far in this course, we've talked quite a bit about encryption algorithms, and ways that we can protect data when we're sending it across the network. But this encryption isn't going to help very much if we use protocols.
So this course is actually, this certificate is just a knowledge-based thing. So you have to understand or remember things, essentially, which is interesting because, like, a lot of the other stuff is like hands-on stuff. This is just knowing, remembering things. Wow.
That don't take advantage of any of these encryption technologies. Protocols such as Telnet, FTP, SMTP, and IMAP send all of their traffic across the network in the clear. You would need to use the secure versions of these protocols to be able to enable encryption and other security features. One way to tell if the data you're sending across the network is secure or insecure is to simply perform a packet capture. I have the results of a packet capture on the screen here, and you can read everything that is listed in this particular packet. And we know that we can read everything because right at the top, you can see that the protocol that we're using is HTTP and not HTTPS. This means we can see information about which version of browser is being used, the referral URLs, information about the cookies, and any other information that's transferred between these two devices. This is something that a quick packet capture in Wireshark can easily display in the clear data, and it might prompt you to use more secure protocols such as SSH, SFTP, HTTPS, and others. This is a picture taken at DEF CON 22, which is a security conference. At this conference, they are constantly monitoring the traffic going across their wireless networks, and if there are any insecure protocols such as HTTP, IMAP, or POP3, they will pull the data out of those frames, show you the email addresses, part of the passwords associated with this transaction, the IP addresses, and other information that was sent over the network in the clear. They refer to this as the wall of sheep, and you can see that there's a lot of details that are listed when you send this information across the network without any encryption or additional security. If you've connected a device to the network for the first time, you were probably prompted for a username and password. And of course, there is a default username and password for all of these devices. Some of these devices will prompt you to change the password the first time you log in, but a great deal of devices have no security associated with the username or password. There's a botnet that takes advantage of these default accounts. It has a list of all of the default account names and passwords for every Internet of Things or IoT device that you can think of. There are more than 60 default configurations that this will look for on your network, including cameras, routers, doorbells, garage door openers, and anything else that connects to the network. If this botnet finds one of these devices with the default credentials, it's able to gain access to that device and then provide the attacker with information on where they can connect as well. This is also software that anyone can run because the Mirai botnet has been released as open source. So both researchers and attackers are using this open source botnet to identify places where the default credentials may still be in use. Each time you enable an inbound service on a server, you are opening a port number. That port number is used by someone on the outside to gain access to that specific application. This process of opening port numbers is effectively giving someone a little bit of access into a section of your server. So it's important to limit the number of open ports that might be accessible by others. We will often manage this type of access to port numbers using something like a firewall. This gives us the option of allowing or disallowing access to a specific port number on a specific IP address. Unfortunately, this also adds a level of complexity that might cause a security issue. These firewall rule sets tend to be relatively large, and it's very easy to accidentally provide access to a specific IP address or port number. This means that the firewall administrator may have enabled access to a device that normally should not be accessible, and of course, if it's open, the attackers are bound to find it. This is why we should always schedule periodic audits to make sure that our firewall rule base is in good shape and we're limiting the number of open ports available on our network. Rule base. This is why we should always schedule periodic audits.
Next. 2 more videos left. They're pretty short.
To say that our mobile devices are challenging to secure is probably an understatement. These are devices that often require additional policies and procedures along with different technologies just to be able to provide security. These are relatively small devices and you can hide them almost anywhere on a person. You also find that these are always moving. It can be difficult to manage something when you're not quite sure where it happens to be at any point in time. And these small, invisible, constantly moving devices have sensitive information on them, not only at a personal level, but for the organization as well. And because these are devices that are constantly connected to the internet, it's possible that anyone in the world might be able to access this device remotely. These mobile devices tend to have a lot of security built into the device itself. One way to circumvent this security is through the use of jailbreaking or rooting. Although we don't commonly have access to these devices at the OS level, there is certainly a complex operating system that's running under the surface. And some individuals have found that you can replace this operating system with one of your own to provide additional access or circumvent some of these security restrictions. If you're doing this to an Android device, it's referred to as rooting, and on Apple's iOS, we refer to this as jailbreaking. This replaces the firmware or operating system on this device with a third-party operating system. This is generally done to enable new features and circumvent security that would
Hey bro, I'm studying for the CompTIA Security Plus exam.
normally be
Watching Professor Messer's videos.
found on the original OS. If an employee was to replace the current operating system with one for jailbreaking or rooting, they would effectively circumvent all of the security that you put in place using your mobile device manager or MDM. Another concern are users that may install any app or circumvent.
Yeah, it's free, man. The Security Plus exam certificate is not free, but the study material is from Messer. He's on YouTube. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to stream it. I'd be in breach of some sort of copyright law.
All of the security that you put in place using your mobile device manager or MDM. Another concern are users that may install any application they would like to this device, and some of those applications may consist of malicious code. This would certainly be a security concern, and just one bad application could subject all of the data on this device to be accessible by an attacker. There are usually restrictions put on these devices, either by the operating system or by your mobile device manager, to restrict what type of applications can be installed and where those applications can be installed from.
No, I don't. I know coding, but just Swift. I don't know Linux tools or Python.
For example, you may specify that your mobile devices can only be installed from
I don't need to know those for this.
either the company's global application library or a local app store. We refer to this ability of installing applications outside the scope of these app stores as side loading. So if a user does install their own firmware to be able to root or jailbreak this device, they would probably then be able to sideload any applications they'd like. Normally, the installation of unauthorized operating systems or software would be specifically forbidden in the policies and procedures of your organization. Usually, you'll find this in an employee handbook or a list of acceptable use policies or AUPs. And it wouldn't be unusual if somebody was to circumvent this administrative security control to be subject to dismissal from the organization.
Man, I'm always so tired. I'm always so yawny watching these.
The application
It's not boring, but it's not like I'm just watching, you know, just listening to someone talk.
and operating systems that you're using right now most likely have security vulnerabilities inside of them. The problem is that we've not identified what those vulnerabilities are yet, but eventually someone will discover this vulnerability and will need to provide patches to be able to close those security holes in your operating systems or applications. People all over the world are working to identify vulnerabilities every day. These may be researchers who can share these vulnerabilities with developers, but this could also be found by attackers. They would like to be able to find these vulnerabilities first. That would allow them to take advantage of the vulnerability without having any patches available to stop them. So the attackers are working constantly to identify and document these vulnerabilities so that they can create attack code that goes after that very vulnerability. The attackers, of course, are not going to share this information with the vendor of the software, and the vendor of the software has no idea that this vulnerability even exists. This also means there's no patch for this vulnerability because from the vendor's perspective, the vulnerability has not yet been discovered. If the attackers then begin exploiting this vulnerability and there's no patch available to mitigate this issue, we refer to that as a zero-day attack. If the security community suddenly realizes there's a new type of attack that no one's seen before, there will suddenly be a flurry of work to create a patch to mitigate that issue. This means until a patch is created, the vulnerability has not yet been discovered. If the attackers then begin exploiting this vulnerability and there's no patch available to mitigate this issue, we refer to that as a zero-day attack. If the security community suddenly realizes there's a new type of attack that no one's seen before, there will suddenly be a flurry of work to create a patch to mitigate that issue. This means until a patch is created, the attacker can continue to take advantage of this vulnerability. It's very difficult to protect a system if you have no idea that the problem even exists. If you'd like to keep track of any zero-day attacks that may arrive, or you'd like to know about vulnerabilities in general, you can visit the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures website, or CVE, at cve.miter.org. Here's an example of zero-day attacks that you might find by visiting the CVE website. For example, in April of 2023, the Chrome browser announced a zero-day attack that involved memory corruption and a sandbox escape. In May of 2023, Microsoft introduced a zero-day patch. In this attack, self-signed code was able to run during the
Thanks, dude. You too.
UEFI boot process, which should not be possible if you're using Secure Boot. And also in May of 2023, Apple's iOS and iPadOS had zero-day attacks. There were 3 separate patches made available. One was a sandbox escape, the other was a disclosure of sensitive information, and the other was an arbitrary code execution. Many of these exploits were being used in the wild, so it was important for Apple, Microsoft, and
how did we not know about? I did not know about that.
Google to create patches that can close these vulnerabilities and prevent these zero-day attacks from occurring.
All right, so we've done up to all the 2.3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 videos of 2.4. They're kind of long. I won't cover that right now. Let's take a mini break and do some of this here. Oh damn, we've got 30 of these due. Let's study. Study time. Let's get these bigger. Which is an area demonstrates the appropriate use of asymmetric encryption. Asymmetric encryption. This one. Establishing a secure connection between a client web server. Let's check. What is I forget what S. Secure sockets layer and transport layer security. Secure encrypted communications between web browsers and servers. Standard cryptographic protocols used to establish secure encrypted communications between servers. I won't remember that right now. Standard cryptographic protocols used to establish secure and a secure encrypted communications between web browser and servers. Okay. Say hi. Why is encrypting records? Data level more important than securing sensitive information. Why is encrypting records at the data level important in securing sensitive information within an organization? at the data level important? Even if attackers gain direct access to the database, they cannot read sensitive records without decryption keys. A. Why is it important to update documentation, such as security policies and procedures? Ensure staff are aware of and follow new security protocols, reducing the risk of misconfiguration of security gaps. Zero trust architecture was primary responsibility of the data plane. Enforcing access decisions on data and handling and transmission of data on policy A. What's the primary security purpose of an access control vestibule? That's to stop them from walking through tailgating. D. Why is a secure key exchange mechanism critical in implementing encryption? The encryption keys are distributed securely, reducing the risk of interception. Which the following best describes the primary function of a public key in a public key infrastructure. Give me 1 second. I might turn on some music while we do this so it's not too boring for me. I'll like get some slight distraction here. I need music that's not let's see what we got. Got all of the Guild Wars 2 soundtracks. Let's go with that. Don't want anything too crazy though, so I'm gonna skip anything like that. The following best describes the primary function of hold on. Yeah, there we go. The following best describes the primary function of a public key, PKI. It lets shared openly so others can encrypt messages that only the key owner can decrypt. Only the key owner can decrypt. Which of the following best describes the primary use of infrared sensors? The unauthorized motion. A. That's pretty good. Say how it though. Which of the following best describes the primary purpose of installing bollards? Control. Specific block vehicles. B. Following best describes CompTIA control. A. Control mitigates risk, and the primary control is not feasible or practical. $20 left plus another 10. Why is it important to utilize key escrow? This allows people to see what's going on with the keys. Key escrow limits recovery of encrypted data. Even if an employee loses their private key, it leaves the organization. Oh, that's the one, yeah. Why is implementing full disk encryption particularly important for enterprise laptops? Maybe lost or stolen. I think it's B. Full disk encryption ensures that only specific. Oh no, sorry, it's not B. This is the one. A. Why is version control important to security? It was tracking audio system of code changes, reducing risk of unauthorized and insecure modifications. A. Why is using partition level encryption important? Because all data stored in a particular partition is encrypted, protecting sensitive information. Why is it critical to protect the private key? Because it's the one that can unlock everything. Otherwise, for access to encrypted communications. Which authorization model assigns permission to roles rather than individual users? RBAC, role-based access control. Yes. Why is symmetric encryption often used for encrypting large amounts of data? Why is symmetric encryption often used? Because it's faster, right? Symmetric encryption generally faster, more efficient. A. So the following best exemplifies a directive security control. Directive. Which of the following best exemplifies a directive security control? Directive is C. An organization that will use policy for employees. Which is implementing? Why is implementing full disk encryption at volume level important? So it's all ensures all data stored on the disk is protected, even if it's lost or stolen. The following is a primary security benefit of implementing video surveillance. That is providing evidence for incident investigations. Okay. Which of the following best describes the role of the control plane in a zero trust Which of the following best describes the role of the control plane in zero trust architecture, specifically adaptive identity management. Makes real-time access decisions based on user identity, context, and continuous authentication. Why is it important to select an appropriate encryption level when securing a database? So it's smooth yet encrypted enough. Appropriate encryption level balance security and performance. Pretty much just what I want to say. Why is a public key infrastructure key essential to security applications? Enables physical, provides digital certificates that authenticate email senders, encrypt messages, ensuring confidentiality and authenticity. Why is it important to use a long-term cryptographic key link when implementing encryption? Long key links are, no. Longer keys make it more, make the data more resistant. Zero trust architecture, what is the main responsibility of the control plane's policy admin? Evaluate and enforce access to based on organizational policies. The following is considered technical control. D. Why is it important to use file level encryption for sensitive documents? A. Why is it important to use encryption for the data? Why is it important to use encryption for data transmitted between the user's browser and web server? Protects confidentiality and integrity of data in transit from interception and tampering. I believe C. Why is it important to use encryption for data transmitted between user browser and web server? Two more and then we go into the new ones. Why is it important to update network diagrams? It's part of change management. To ensure security teams have accurate information for threat identity. Why is it important to use modern encryption algorithms such as AES instead of outdated algorithms? I don't remember this question before. What are algorithms like AES are typically? Oh yeah, I do remember. It's A. Here we go. New questions. Why is TPM trusted platform model? I don't remember this. Considered an important cryptographic tool for enhancing endpoint security. TPM, the longest one is usually the right one. TPM securely stores cryptographic keys. TPM securely stores cryptographic keys and performs hardware-based cryptographic operations, protecting sensitive data against unauthorized access. Probably D. Yeah. Helping to safeguard sensitive data even if that device is compromised. TPM, Trusted Platform Modules, hardware-based security component device to securely generate. Oh, like kind of the T2 chip in Apple computers before. Let's say hard. Why is using a hardware security module, HSM, considered an important cryptographic solution? HSMs provide secure, tamper-resistant storage for cryptographic keys and accelerate cryptographic operations. I think it's D. Why is implementing a key management system critical in employing cryptographic solutions? Centralizes generation, storage, distribution, rotation, replication of keys. I think D, yeah. Centralized key management provides security, accountability, and efficiency, reducing the risk of key compromise or loss. Yes. The key management system comprises processes and tools used to securely handle cryptographic keys throughout their lifecycle: generation, distribution, storage, rotation, destruction, while preventing integrity and confidentiality. That's hard. Which of the following best describes the function of a secure enclave? Provides us an isolated hardware-based environment to securely process and store sensitive cryptographic operations and keys. Probably A. Secure enclave. Allows software applications. No. I think A? Yeah. Secure enclave is hardware-based, like HSM, right? Isolated environment within a system that securely manages sensitive cryptographic operations and stores secret keys. Ensure they're encrypted even though it's just like all the same thing, right? Why is it important to use appropriate cryptographic solution for obfuscation within an enterprise security strategy? Obfuscation using cryptographic methods helps hide sensitive information from unauthorized access even if data is intercepted. Oh, yo! What is that? Why was it blocked? I think that was a subscription, right? Sorry guys, I don't know why that was blocked out just then. It's so weird. Let me fix the size of that. I think it was kind of cut off. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much for the subscribe. No way, it wasn't that exciting of an animation anyway. And apparently I haven't gotten AI to work yet for some reason. I'm trying though. It might only work with like donations. I'm not actually sure. I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, I'm not actually sure, I should say. I thought it worked with subscriptions, but maybe it doesn't. Why is it important to use appropriate cryptographic solutions for obfuscation? I'm gonna say B because it's the longest. Cryptographic obfuscation makes data difficult for attackers to interpret, protecting sensitive information if it is exposed. Well, apparently obfuscation is not really that effective in general, though. It makes data or code difficult to interpret and understand without necessarily providing strong encryption or to hinder unauthorized parties. Organization stores sensitive database connection strings in its application configuration files. To protect them, the strings are obfuscated using a cryptographic algorithm so they are not easily readable if someone gains unauthorized access. So it's just another extra layer, basically, that doesn't really do that much. It's just another, it's an annoying thing, difficult for hackers and people to access. Which of the following best describes why steganography is used as an obfuscation technique within cryptographic solutions? It hides secret information within ordinary files such as images or audio, make the existence of data less obvious. B. I already knew that. Actually, I already knew that. Let's put this down again. Why might an organization use tokenization as a cryptographic solution for handling sensitive data such as credit card numbers? Tokenization is cryptographic for handling data. Tokenization, I don't remember this. Primarily used to compress data. Increases transparency by allowing sensitive information to be encrypted. No. Tokenization replaces sensitive data with non-sensitive equivalents that retain required information without exposing the original data. Interesting, I might try C. Tokenization is primarily used to compress data without algorithms to encrypt data into unreadable ciphertext for secure storage. Ooh, could be C or D, let's go. C. I was leaning towards that anyway. Tokenization is a data obfuscation technique that replaces sensitive information, such as credit card numbers, with unique non-sensitive tokens which retain the required data format but have no exploitable value if breached. The mapping between tokens and original data is maintained securely in a token vault. Payment processor stores customer credit card numbers as a random token value. These random token values in its database, ensuring that even if the database is breached, actual card numbers are not exposed. Interesting. That's good to know. Trusted platform model, TPM, considered an important cryptographic tool. It securely stores cryptographic keys, performs hardware-based cryptographic operations. Is that not the same as an HSM? Let's have a quick look here. Really? Device level, TPM. Network or system level. Aha. There you go. Right, so TPM is like the T2 chip, like I said before. And HSM is a data center thing. Gotcha. Was data masking considered an important cryptographic solution when handling sensitive information? Data masking. Fairly kind of remember this. Data masking automates the process of decision. No. Data masking replaces sensitive elements within data with fictional but realistic values for an authorized exposure, which is the same as tokenization, right? D. So what's the difference between that now? Fuck, what's it called again? Data masking, reverse tokenization. There it is. Permanently obscures data for safe non-production use. Software testing. Replaces sensitive values with meaningless placeholders. Has sensitive information by replacing it. Irreversible. Ah. Permanently stripping out the elements. Sensitive secure random placeholder. Right. Oh, what? How would a... Wait, but... Example here. Copies. Ah. Right. It's just for testing shit. Why is implementing a key management system critical? Playing cryptographic solutions. Centralizes the generation, storage, distribution, rotation, revocation of encryption keys to ensure their secure handling. Skip this song, it's good. Too much. Following best describes the function of a secure enclave. Provides isolated hardware-based environment, secure and process-sensitive cryptographic. Is it A? But here we go. Let's see what the difference is here. Secure enclave versus TPM versus HSM. Oh, I don't have a thing there anymore. Right. Let's do TPM then. So similar. Standardized dedicated hardware chip. Platform integrity. Secure boot. A secure enclave is isolated on-chip processing area built to protect sensitive user-level secrets. Okay. So it's a separate chip. So it is like the T2 chip. This is on the chip. Right, gotcha. Why is hashing considered an important cryptographic solution? In securing passwords within an enterprise environment. Hashing. Transforms passwords into fixed length values, making it extremely difficult for attackers to retrieve the original password, even if the hash value are exposed. I think B. Hashing encrypts data so it can easily be reversed and read by administrators. Hashing is used to create secure communication channels between two endpoints. Hashing allows organizations to grant selective access to encrypted. I think it's B. I think I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, so during hashing, the data becomes hashed, and then you can't reverse it, but to check with the private key, you can convert the same thing with the private key and hash it, and if the hash values are the same, or whatever the check does to check if the hash values are the same, then it's confirmed. Why is it important to use appropriate cryptographic solutions for obfuscation? Why is it important to use appropriate cryptographic solutions for obfuscation? Using cryptographic methods helps hide sensitive information from unauthorized access. That's a weird question, but B. Which of the following best describes why steganography is used? High secret information. B. Why might an organization use tokenization as a cryptographic solution for handling sensitive data? It replaces sensitive data with non-sensitive data to retain the format without exposing it. Why is salting an important process when storing user passwords in a database? Salting adds random data to each password before hashing, making identical passwords produce unique hashes. Yes. B. A. I already know it's A. I'll say that's good. Why is data masking considered an important cryptographic solution in handling sensitive information in a business environment? Why am I yawning? Anytime I'm reading something, I'm yawning. Why is data masking considered an important cryptographic solution when handling sensitive information in business environments? Important cryptographic solution. A data masking, right. Replace sensitive elements with fictional but realistic values to prevent unauthorized exposure, and it's during testing. I know that. Why is using a hardware security module an important cryptographic solution? Provide secure tamper-resistant storage for cryptographic keys and accelerate cryptographic operations. D. Why is hashing considered an important cryptographic solution? Transforms password into fixed length values, making it extremely difficult for attackers to retrieve the original password. Why is TPM considered an important cryptographic tool? Securely stores cryptographic keys and performance hardware-based cryptographic operations. Sensitive data. Which of the following best describes the function of a secure enclave? Now we know what that is. Isolated hardware-based environment, securely process. I mean, sorta, yeah. A. Key management system critical. Centralizes generation, storage, distribution, rotation, and revocation of encryption keys. What is the following? Which of the following best describes why steganography is used? Hides secret information within ordinary files such as image or audio, making things of data look less obvious. It's what use appropriate cryptographic solution for obfuscation. Enterprise technology. Using cryptographic methods helps hide sensitive information from unauthorized access, even if the data is exposed. Why might an organization tokenization? Replace sensitive data with non-sensitive equivalents. Retain required format without exposing the original data. Why is hashing considered an important cryptographic solution? Transforms the password to fixed length values, making it extremely difficult for attackers to retrieve the original password if the hash values are exposed. Because it can't, it's only one way. That's only an important process. Adds random data each password before hashing to produce unique hashes. That's a better answer, actually. Cool. Finish that one. We've got 12 new ones to go in this one. Tomorrow we got 15 cards due, plus probably 12, so 27 cards tomorrow, and we've got quite a few in the coming days. So we'll keep going with this as much as we can. Missed yesterday, but there's a lot going on. Now let's go into the threats and vulnerabilities mitigations. I'll be back in a sec. Just realized I got that crazy music going on. Alright, I'll be back in a second. I'm just gonna quickly grab a drink, go to the toilet, and see you in a sec. Please. That's not coming up next. Right, I'll be back shortly. Oh, my camera's on 14% as well, so I'll just turn that off for a minute. Okay, I'm back. Let me just get quickly set up here. It's already 4. God damn it. Skip this song. I'm a bit cold as well. What the hell? Yeah. Let's put the blanket on. Alright, let's see how well my camera charged up during that time. If it did charge up. Lol. Let's plug in. What the hell? What am I doing? Okay, we're back. All right. Let's start out with some of these questions here. Why is it so awkward? This camera. My hair's so weird. Can't even get a good position on. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's see what we got. They're like 25 minutes or less. Which threat actor is most likely to conduct attacks? To advance political or social cause? Political or social? Probably C, right? Yeah. Which is the following best characterizes a nation-state threat actor? Government-sponsored group conducting cyber espionage. D. The following best describes the characteristics of an unskilled attacker. A could be. No. 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 A. The following best describes the primary motivation of a hacktivist. Political or social cause. A. The following best describes an insider threat. B. Skip this song. Good song, but skip. The following best describes the primary motivation of an organized crime threat. Could be A. Just A. Yeah. The following best describes the risk posed by shadow IT. The risk. Using technology without IT approval. application services, systems, devices within an organization without explicit approval or oversight from IT or security teams, often creating security and compliance management risks. Which is the volume most commonly associated with, hold on, let me get a text up on the screen here. So everyone knows what I'm doing. That's better. Most commonly associated with nation-state threat actors compared to other types of threat actors. I think B, straight off the bat. Which is the following best describes an internal threat actor? D. Threat actor is most likely to have substantial resources and funding. A, of course. Unskilled attacker. A. The risk posed by it is B. Most likely to conduct attacks to advance political or social cause. Activist there. Best describes an insider threat. The following best describes the primary motivation of a hacktivist. Political or social cause. Following best describes the primary motivation of an organized crime threat. Gain. Okay. Internal threat actor. Just regular employee. These are fairly easy. We should do maybe 5 more of these. Maybe even 10. Most commonly associated with nation state. Highly organized operations. Threat actors most likely to have substantial resources. Nation state actors. This describes risk posed. Improved applications and devices maintenance abilities. The following best describes characters unskilled actor. They rely rarely on tools and scripts found online. Let's do an extra 5 for now. Which threat actor is most likely to possess advanced resources, especially skills and ability to carry out highly sophisticated attacks over an extended period? Nation state actor. Which following best describes a common motivation for nation state actors to perform data exfiltration. Launching distributed denial of service attacks to disrupt services for entertainment. Defacing public-facing websites for damage. Organizational work to damage. Obtain employee login credentials? No. Stealing intellectual property to gain economic or strategic advantage over another country? B. Oh, definitely. Following best describes primary motivation behind cyber espionage activities. espionage. C. Following best describes why a hacktivist group might initiate a distributed denial of service attacking its government website. To disrupt access to services and draw attention to a political cause. C. It's easy. Which of the following best describes the motivation behind a cyber criminal using ransomware to threaten public release of sensitive data? Unless payment is made. Financial gain through blackmail, probably. Probably B. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. Which of the following best describes the primary motivation behind cyber espionage activities? C. Which of the following best describes hacktivist group might initiate denial of service attack against the government website? Just do this. C. One best describes primary motivation behind cyber espionage. C. Nation state. Cyber criminal ransomware. Gain financial access. Nation state actors. B. Let's do another 5. Following threat actors is most commonly motivated by financial gain. Cyber criminals. D. Following best describes threat actor motivated by philosophical or political beliefs. Attacker seeking activist group. D. Which characteristic best describes the primary motivation of an ethical hacker? Personal profit by exploiting discovered vulnerabilities. B, I would say. Oh, well, D. Yeah. Kinda, mostly. I'm coughing a lot recently these days. Threat actor motivated by revenge. A. Following, how many following threat actors destruction or chaos? Activists. Easy. There's the most commonly motivated by financial gain. So ransomware. Activist group D. Destruction and chaos. Activists. Illustrates threat actor motivated by revenge. A. Ethical hacker. Description. Which is what? Which? Ethical hacker. Security. D. How many do we have in here? Ooh, there's a lot of ones in here. Shall I do 29 more so we have 100 left exactly? Let's do it. Zahir! Nice name. Reminds me of something. Avatar. Which motivation is most associated with nation state attackers? B, I can already know. Cybersecurity attack commonly used email to trick recipients. Phishing, C. Good. Following best describes common security risk associated with email threat as a threat vector. B, I believe. SMS can be used as a threat vector. Yes, D. Smishing. What would it be? Instant messaging. Phishing links sent through. Shoulder surfing. B. Following best describes the security risks associated with image-based. Images can display sensitive data in plain sight, making it easy for users to interpret confidential details. Malicious code or scripts within image files through steganography. I think D? Actually? Yeah. Which of the following best describes a file-based attack vector? Which attack best exemplifies a threat vector targeting the voice call surface? B, I'd say. Yeah. Proceeding IT support to extract this information. Which of the following best explains why removal devices? Malware into network deployed this isn't. A, I pretty much already know the answer. The following best describes a risk associated with using outdated software. Exposing to unpatched vulnerabilities. A. Already I know. Okay. Security risk associated with client-based software compared to agentless solutions. I'd say B. I'd say B. Wait, what's an agentless solution? I actually don't know. Yeah. Without endpoint installations. A. Already know A. Insecure public Wi-Fi networks. I think B. Packet sniffing can happen. Eavesdropping using packet sniffers. D. Unsecure wired networks. B. I think B. C. Oh, it was wired. Oops. Gotta connect to the mainframe. It's in every hacker game or movie. Unsecure Bluetooth. Check malicious code via Bluetooth when devices are discoverable. This might be a new thing to me. I maybe haven't gone through this yet. It might be a malware. Yeah, wireless attacks, look. Probably haven't gone through this yet, so I'm getting early information on it. Attackers can eavesdrop and inject malicious code. Probably. Probably A. Blue snarfing. Risk of associated with leaving necessary service ports open. D. Unsecure wired networks. Unauthorized connection allowed data sniffing. C. This is a C. Where's my music gone? The wizards. To the following best describes why default credentials are considered significant security risk. Should not change it to deployment. A. I'll do that one. Which scenario best illustrates a supply chain attack? It's a common threat vector. Supply chain attack. Embeds malicious code and new software update for sensitive systems. I'd say D. Yeah. Primary supply chain security risk. Also, device, weak passwords, policies. I think D. I'll probably do that. Managed service provider. Supply chain attack. Only software vendors. Update process. B. I knew it already. Malicious code is inserted into software update. Vendors update process impacting all downstream customers. Which of the following best describes supply chain attack involving a software supplier? Yeah, D. I see. The following is an example of a social engineering attack leveraging a human threat vector. That's C. There. Knew it. Describes a phishing attack as a human threat vector. Sent an email pretending to be B. Yeah. Phishing is through email. Which of the following best describes a vishing as a social engineering threat vector using phone call to impersonate a legitimate organization? B. Which following best describes a security risk associated with client-based software. Client-based software can introduce additional vulnerabilities through outdated or misconfigured agents. Smishing attack. Here you go. Suspicious email. Usually use text message from the bank. D. Following best describes social engineering attack that leverages deliberate falsehoods to influence public opinion and compromise organizational security. Whoa. Spreading disinformation on social media to meet employee perceptions. Exploiting outdated software vulnerabilities to gain system access. Exploiting outdated software vulnerabilities. Leverages deliberate falsehoods to influence public opinion. I guess this, right? D. Using social media to employee perceptions. D. There you go. Serious email threat vector. B. Which motivation is associated with nation state actors engaging in cyber operations during the period of geopolitical conflict to win strategic or military political advantages. B. It's easy. Which the following best describes a security risk associated with image-based attack vectors. There, D. The following best describes systems to be used. D there. File-based attack vector. B. Phishing. Company help desk going to be a senior executive urgently requests a password reset for their account. What type of social engineering checking is this? Impersonation. Dumpster diving. What the hell? Which threat vectors commonly exploited via instant messaging to compromise security. Malicious phishing links through IM chance B. One best describes a risk associated with using outdated software. A there. The following best describes a security risk associated with using unsecure Bluetooth. Dropped with that. Yes. Why? Which one best explains why removable devices such as USB flash drives can be a significant threat vector. A. One sec, I gotta quickly message somebody. What's going on here? Okay. Dun 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 dun. Oh, excuse me. Alright. We were going crazy with the music just then. Which attack best exemplifies a threat vector targeting the voice call surface? Impersonating IT support to extract sensitive information. Following, there's still one new one left. Following best describes the risk associated with leaving unnecessary service ports open. The service attack surface can be exploited by attackers. D. Why are unsupported systems applications a significant threat? They're no longer supported. Maybe known vulnerabilities unpatched. The following represents a primary supply chain security risk using managed service provider. Compromise of the managed service provider's network leads to unauthorized access to client systems. The following is a common threat vector: unsecure wireless networks. Capture unencrypted data in transit. I just texted her straight away. Eavesdropping using packet sniffers. Which of the following best describes risk introduced by using unsecure public Wi-Fi networks on company laptops? Some data can be attackers via packet sniffing. Be there. Best exemplifies business email compromise. This is the new question. BEC, business email compromise. Type of social engineering threat vector. Player receives a spoofed email that appears to be from company CEO requesting wire transfer. Yeah, try that one. No, it's A. Which of the following is the primary risk associated with unsecure wired networks? There we go, data sniffing, C. Default credentials are considered significant security risk. It's A. Widely published and not often changed. But scenario best illustrates a supply chain attack. Supply chain attack. D. Fine. Software supplier. C there. There's going to be a lot of stuff needing to come out on in 2 days. What do we got on there already? 32 cards. Fuck. Which scenario best describes a phishing attack with a human threat vector? Some deceptive email. B. The following is an example of a social engineering attack leveraging a human threat vector. Cybercriminal calls an employee pretending to be from IT and asks if the picture is you. The following best illustrates a supply chain attack involving software vendors update process. Fuck, it's racking up here. Yeah, best illustrates a smishing attack. That's a text. Say this one's equal. Following best describes security risk associated with client-based software compared to agentless. B. Double check that was B, right? Yeah. The following best describes phishing as social engineering. This is easy. Phone call to impersonate a legitimate organization. Easy. Company help desk. Senior executive. This is impersonation. Out of those options, it's impersonation. Which of the following best describes security risks associated with unsecured Bluetooth? Attackers eavesdrop and inject malicious code via Bluetooth. Which of the following represents primary supply chain security risk? Managed service provider. The MSP could get compromised and lead to unauthorized access to client systems. Which of the following best describes risk associated with leaving unnecessary service port open? Service ports and service attack surface can be exploited by attackers to gain unauthorized access or launch attacks. So best exemplifies business email compromise. Just spoofing of an email basically within the company. Following best describes social media falsehoods. It's D there. It's easy now. I want to go back to. I might do good. Alright, we did it. Oh my god. Oh my god, man. That was quite a few questions through here. Now what? We've got only 100 left, right? Yeah. Cool. So we're doing well. We're doing well. How many are in here? There's probably a lot, right? Let's click on this for stats. Holy 1,500 cards in here. How many we got for the other one? $685. Well, there's more than 1,500 in the other one. Oh no, there's 1,500. There's only 600 in here because the test doesn't cover absolutely every single thing. So we got 500 cards, 550 cards left in here. That's pretty great. Not too many left. We did 55 minutes of studying today, apparently. 20 seconds a card. Nice. Alright, that's it for that. I think that's it for everything. I'm gonna go to probably do Uber Eats now. Get some money in my bank account because I freaking need it. Oh. Alright. Fuck, I need to apply for some jobs while I do some other stuff. Fuck, so much stuff to do. Right. Well, maybe after my work I will apply for jobs because I gotta get started. And I gotta go to the gym later as well. God damn it, there's so much shit to do. So much shit to do right now. Alright guys, I'll catch you in my next video. Thank you for enjoying watching me study. See you guys.